From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
Well, I forgot my mic one time, and for a change, a tech issue is my fault, which is so nice to have that experience for a change. So I am Drew Walsh, and welcome to From Domain to Profit, where we scour the internet, find domain names that are available for you to use to develop into a business. Each week, the domain names are different, and we get the opportunity to bring them to you and hopefully create a life-changing opportunity for you. So we have some exciting domain names to bring up for you, and let's first, though, if you're here, please hit the subscribe button, hit like, and say hi to everyone else in the chat. And we will start to dive into our domain names. We have quite a few different opportunities available for you this week. Some different things, as well as a warning. So the domains that we list and bring to you are aftermarket domain names. So that means that somebody's already owned them and they let that domain name expire and it ends up on an auction or for sale through various platforms. And sometimes things don't go as planned, as we will show you here in a bit. And hey, Jason, how's it going? Jason Shepard, a fellow domain guy. Nice to see you on here. Nice to see you. And this is out on YouTube as well as currently Periscope on Twitter. So if you're on either of those, say hi, hit the likes. YouTube is our primary platform. So if you watch us on Twitter, ideally check out From Domain to Profit. That's where you're going to see information on, and you can get notified of upcoming shows. We'll send you out that YouTube link each week. So I want to dive right into our 3-minute business plan. So what we do is, as I said, we look for these domain names and we bring them to you each week. And rather than talking all kinds of craziness about what domains are available, why don't we just get to it? So let me show you what the 3-minute business plan looks like. This is what you see on the screen there is a 3-minute business plan. It's a free worksheet that we have up on our website. And you can find that here, 3-minute business plan or 3-minute plan from domain to profit, 3-minute business plan. And you're going to find this here, which is the worksheet. So every domain name that we bring up, we're going to run through 3 minutes. So we're going to look at the key factors that you need to address when you're looking or considering any kind of business, whether it's a domain name or otherwise. We're going to look at the audience. We're going to look at the problem we're solving for that audience. We're going to look at the solution that we're able to provide, as well as how we communicate that solution to that audience and through our marketing of authority and awareness, which is my view of all marketing breaks down to those two pieces, authority and awareness, which over the weeks we'll talk more in depth about each of these pieces. So hopefully grab that worksheet. We are going to dive right into the first domain name. And the first one we have, and here's where the warning comes in, it's kidsphotography.com. And I thought about pulling this from the show. I found out this morning that this domain name actually, it's currently listed over on Namejet. It's actually featured over on Namejet. At the time, it was like $69. It ends tonight. And we were going to present this domain name. I'm still going to run through a 3-minute plan for it. But I've been told that this domain name, the owner still owns it. It's not a domain name that you can get. But I wanted to keep it in here mostly because I think there's some good information for it. But there is a warning. On all these domain names we're going to talk about, if you're not familiar with domain investing or buying domain names at aftermarket, you'll still have to check them out, especially as you increase the price that you're paying for them. Like if you were to buy this one, you wouldn't actually get the domain name. They'd send you an email after the fact saying, hey, this domain name is not actually available. So I'm going to start the clock. We're going to run down through a 3-minute business plan for kidsphotography.com, and this is just mostly for test sake, I guess. So starting the clock. First, when we look at this specific domain name, the audience are going to be parents. Parents are going to be the ones that are coming to the site, obviously, to find photographers to take pictures of their kids. I have to think that not too many people use is Sears even a thing anymore? Wasn't Sears like big for photographs there for a while? Well, where do kids, where do you go to get pictures, portraits, different things of your kids? So we're looking for parents, the people that provide that service, short of you being a photographer that works nationwide or worldwide, we're going to want to let photographers, kid photographers from all over the U.S. actually show up on the site. So the problem, this is something that I wanted to talk about a little bit. When my company builds out sites like towing.com, DJs.com, the problem that we're actually addressing in many cases is that domain name can only be owned by one person. Yet thousands of people would love to own it, would love to appear on that domain name. I mean, that is literally a problem. Those companies would like to be on that domain. So the solution we provide shows up as a directory. Directories are very popular, but in the case of premium domain names, what they allow you to do is actually address a problem, not just provide a directory site. That's a little nuanced. I'd love to dive into that more. Feel free to ask questions on that, but let me continue to 3 minute. So the solution we're going to provide is helping the people that are showing up or that we can get to appear on kidsphotography.com to actually find the photographers, and then we're going to communicate out to them where it's where you would expect to find photographers that focus on your kids on kidsphotography.com or something like that. Or maybe, gosh, I guess it could be maybe your audience is kids that want to be photographers, and you could do classes that teach kids how to do it. Okay, let's stay on focus a little bit. We'll talk mostly about the domain name. Hopefully the domain name brings enough authority to where if you were to call a photographer and be like, hey, this is Drew with kidsphotography.com, has a ring to it, brings a little bit of authority. Hopefully we'll allow that decision maker on the other side of the phone to take your call. That's kind of that authority piece. And then the awareness to start would be people, that you would call. Then you would need to probably do some paid ads and then build into, search engine optimization where the free traffic is. A lot of strategies that can go into that. Ultimately 15 seconds. So once again, specifically on kidsphotography.com, this domain name is not actually available for you. So just keep that in mind. Don't head out to Namejet and look for the domain. So I just want to take a second now to talk about the fact that all too often I hear people that talk about how developing domain names is like it's like trying to find a solution. It's like trying to build something out before you actually have a product or service. And I hinted on it a little bit with kids photography. And that is the solution, or the problem often is, if you get a premium domain, a good enough domain name, the problem can literally be the fact that only one person can own that domain name. And if it's a nationwide domain name, which all domains are, that's the beauty of the internet, it's worldwide. Anywhere you have an internet connection, you can get to that domain. Well, only one person can own it, and it's great if you're some giant worldwide company, but ultimately, in many cases, local businesses are going to be the ones that would love to appear on that domain name, and they just want their little area, which a lot of people think that directories and sharing out domains or sharing out websites are dead. I assure you it's not. First of all, it's how we are successful with our business. But the solution very much can be helping people that come to this site find the companies that want to be there, that would love to be part of that domain name. So I'll dive into that. I want to spend just tons of time on that. And I'll spend a little bit more here in a second, but I want to make sure that we keep moving forward and keep moving over to our next domain name, which if you saw it over on the 3 minute timer, you saw that next up is beekeeping.com. And let me bring that up on our list, which is easier said than done. Okay, hopefully this does the trick. Boom, boom. This is awkward science. Basically, behind the scenes, I'm getting my system to hopefully show us when I save this. See if that works. BeekeepingSupplies.com doesn't quite show up all the way there. This is a GoDaddy auction. So BeekeepingSupplies.com is going to be on GoDaddy, which is over here. Here's one of the ways that you get to that, auctions.godaddy.com. And it is a expired domain name. So that means that somebody had the domain name. They already paid the money for it at some point, but for whatever reason, they let that domain name expire, and now it's going to be going up for auction and available to you. And let me see here. That was in 4 days. So in 4 days, that's going to close. So in 4 days, somebody's going to be able to own that domain name. Hopefully somebody that has an interest in beekeeping supplies, whether it's really know nothing about beekeeping, but the boxes, the suits, whatever it is. Anyhow, if you know anything about beekeeping supplies, I'm sure there's plenty of people that sell supplies. You can list them on it. Well, let's get the timer going. Beekeeping supplies over on GoDaddy auctions was pretty cheap, a little over $25, ending in 4 days. So once again, we'll start with the audience. And often you'll hear me say this nearly every week. You can't start with the solution because it's a surefire way to fail. You have to focus on your audience. Who's your market? Who's going to be the ones that are using this? What do they actually need? What problem can we address? We always focus and start with this right here. We start with the audience. So in this case, there's going to be people that are selling beekeeping supplies, as well as those who are buying beekeeping supplies. It's like a tongue twister for me. So we want to find a problem that those people might have. Often that problem can simply be more exposure. I'm assuming that people that are selling beekeeping supplies are using the internet to find customers, but that in itself is a pain in the butt, finding customers on the internet. Which way do you go? Do you go pay-per-click, social media, search engine optimization? There's all kinds of different pieces of it. And then how do you outcompete the competition? I'm sure there's numerous other companies that do it. So these companies are out there looking for an opportunity to outcompete their competition. So the problem that we're addressing for the beekeeping supply sellers of the world is more exposure. So we are going to probably form an advertising platform. Now, of course, if you sell beekeeping supplies and you ship nationwide, then you can, of course, use beekeepingsupplies.com as an authoritative domain name to set yourself apart from everybody else selling beekeeping supplies. Problem is more exposure on the internet, more authoritative, showing up as an expert in that field. The solution is this domain name provides a solution for it, assuming you're showing the companies that provide those supplies on it. We would use the domain name as the message for it. So specifically, find beekeeping supplies exactly where you'd expect to find it on beekeepingsupplies.com. And so if you were a third-party person buying this and you didn't sell beekeeping supplies, you would find the people that sell them, list their stuff on the website, ideally have them ship directly to the customers, and all you're doing is providing that middle ground to where there's a cost, there's a profit that you make for each customer, and then it's just a matter of keeping the cost of acquisition of those customers low enough. So in this case, you'd have to know something about pay-per-click and customer acquisition or learn it. Otherwise, you can throw a bunch of money out the window. So beekeepingsupplies.com, you would find that first beekeeping supplier online. I would probably reach out, a couple emails, a couple phone calls, especially if you're doing it on commission. So time's up. And then you get those beekeeping suppliers to list on the site and or offer some kind of commission for it. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm curious, what would you do differently? How would you develop out beekeepingsupplies.com. It's a unique domain name, which we have lots of unique domains this week. We don't have any home run domains that are domains that you're going to like die. Like we don't have any towing.com ones. There's a couple domains that were ending, one ending today, exuberance.com. But realistically, it's a great domain, but what are you going to put on that? Anything you want, but what does that domain name really do to separate you from the competition is kind of the question. So I'm going to get us set up for the next one, which you may have seen is going to be itworker.com is going to be the next domain name. And I'm sorry, that's not true. Event pics. Anyhow, let me save this file, bring it up on our screen here. So eventpics.com. This one is another one that's over on GoDaddy Auctions. As of when I checked, it was $65. It will, of course, go for that or more because it is auction. And it's going in 3 days. So let me see, 3 days, that's going to go up for auction. So if you have any questions, please, it's, of course, live. If you think that what we say in 3 minutes is not enough, we can dive into more or not. So, your show. Just bringing it to you. I'm just trying to do what I can to bring some value. Hopefully, bring a domain name, bring an opportunity to you that you can take advantage of. And I don't know, I'd love to be able to, part of our goal here is to have 100 of the domain names that we bring to you, 100 of those domain names built out to be created and developed into businesses. And we only want you to do that, of course, if we think that you can be successful. So hopefully some of the lessons, the things that we bring up, will teach you things that you can avoid as well as things that you can do to be successful. So let me see here. Along that, I just want to take a moment to, a couple of weeks ago, I was, 2 weeks ago, I was down in Tennessee with family, and I was with a bunch of my nieces and nephews, my sister Julie, who at some point have her on here. She's crazy. She's awesome. Anyhow, her oldest son, Michael, he may be watching. Hey, Mike. He was asking, "Hey, Uncle Drew, what can I do to to start a business like you?" And he's Mike's 20, so he's be 21 here shortly. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do, and ultimately, hopefully, I can help him just like I can help you figure out what it is that you can do to hopefully never have to work for other people. You may have to start that way, but hopefully you can end up doing something for yourself. Well, one thing I wanted to mention was that Mike loves to tell stories. He wants to get into storytelling. I've tried to steer him a little bit towards marketing and the idea of telling stories for the sake of marketing. And he was like, "Hey," and here we go. So there we go, Michael. Hey, Mike. So, but the thing is, when it comes, he was like, "Hey, so what would a great domain name be for something like this?" And I just want to give you a little bit of a warning because what he said is something that many people want to do. He said, "How about something?" And I might butcher this a little bit, but he's like, "Hey, but how about something like Mike's Story Time, where time is spelled, TYME or something like that, or Story Time where it's spelled TYME." And often people want to do wordplay in domain names. They want to, do puns or whatever else. Ultimately, you can do anything you want to. You can build anything you want to on any domain that's out there. Those domains could work perfectly fine. The only thing is, if you can start on a better piece of real estate, a better domain name, it's going to make a world of difference for your business. And in that case, I let Mike know that I let Michael know that he shouldn't probably do that specific domain name. I made some other suggestions and things. But ultimately, when we look at these domain names, we want to make sure that that domain name People call it the radio check. You want to be able to tell people about it. You want to be able to call somebody, have that authority to where when you pick up that phone and you say, hey, I'm with MikeStorytime.com, you don't have to explain the domain name anymore. It makes sense to them. And ideally, if you're going for that marketing piece, you need that premium domain where it might be like Storytime or something like that. Anyhow, hopefully it's a little bit of a helpful rant. But along with that line, let's go on to our next domain name, which is eventpics.com. So this is one reason why I kind of mentioned that is, as you can see, it's EventPics, P-I-C-S, which that makes sense to me. For some, you might say EventPics, and they might go, well, what's that? And they might try to put that K in there, which doesn't make sense for pictures, but, you know, who knows? So eventpics.com. This is, again, over on GoDaddy Auctions, and we're going to run down a 3-minute business plan for eventpics.com. So the audience here is going to be, you know, it says it right in the domain name. That's what we're looking for. Events, pictures, event pics. This one, I think I want to take it a little bit more on the technology side. And that is, you know, I went to my cousin's Sally's wedding, and she had disposable cameras and things around, and then you leave the camera and they develop them. Well, what if eventpics.com, so ideally our audience, our market, are going to be people that are throwing events, weddings especially, various trade shows, those big, you know, what is it, Avon, these different multi-level marketing. They put on these big conferences with thousands and thousands of people. People are sharing them, tagging them on Instagram and things. But what if you did something with eventpics.com? The problem is those events have to get permission from those users. They have to get people to tag the photos in specific ways. You've probably been at events where they're like, hey, tag this photo with whatever event. And then they know that those pictures were for that event. Well, what if eventspics.com was specifically a way to share for everybody at that event can get those photos in one place to where you can see all the pics for that event, which if you can get people to do that, then regardless of whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you can bring all those pictures into one thing to where one event has all the pics listed for it. It would be great for the event organizer as far as they would be able to view all the pictures. Maybe they have permission to use it on their marketing, something like that. Of course, you're talking tech in that case. It would require, most of these events have apps that they have you download. It would probably have to be something part of that. Anyhow, that solution is going to be a little bit outside my expertise. But here's one of the things, 43 seconds. Let me finish this up, and I'll come back to this whole expertise piece. EventPics.com, helping you easily organize the pictures at your events. Something like that would be your unique selling proposition. And basically you want to help them organize all the images, all the video from that event to where you can use it and everybody can remember their experience. I mean, EventPics.com is a great domain name for that purpose. Awareness would need to be, you'd need to find event organizers to use your said app, website, or so on. So that could be a little bit, anyhow, I'm sure they have a lot of people reaching out to them. So let me go back. Now that my timer is done, hopefully that walked you through a little bit of a business plan. I tried to make it a little bit more of a stretch on that case instead of falling back into the directory thing all the time. So one of the things I wanted to just talk about was the idea that, man, I'm losing my thought. Anyhow, dagnabbit. There's something I wanted to say, and I was too busy trying to run past it to remember what it was. If this wasn't live, I could possibly just like rewind it, watch what I was saying, and do it again. Anyhow, maybe somebody in chat, hook a brother up, hook an uncle up. Okay, anyhow, man, I had something that would have been world changing. Oh, I got it. Here's what it is. So one of the biggest questions that I have, one of the things that people bring to me all the time is, okay, Drew, I'm not a programmer and I don't know how to build something. I don't know how to do this. And I've been really hesitant to dive into how to develop a website. I'm a self-taught developer. I can do video stuff. I can do marketing stuff. I've just taught myself all kinds of different things. And it's like, so yeah, I have some information that I can share. I can share you some tools that can help you make it easy or where to go to learn. But here's the thing. Why is it that I know all these different skills? The reason is the problem was worth solving for me. What I was trying to accomplish, develop a website, add a new feature, do something, it was worth me going out and learning a new skill. Now, you don't just go and learn programming and just know all programming. You go and you start with, okay, how do I put up a home page? How do I make this text yellow instead of blue? You start slowly and you solve problems. And over the course of time, you develop the skills. Of course, you can hire out. Maybe you're Daddy Warbucks out there and you just can pay people to do stuff. That's perfectly fine. I mean, nowadays, I have coders like literally just on the back side here that are, creating things on my behalf, on the company's behalf. Does that mean I'm Daddy Warbucks? No. Anyhow. Okay. Anyhow, so basically, when you have something that's worth doing, you'll figure it out. Don't let something small like how do I put up a web page? How do I do this? Those things are just problems that can be solved. You can Google it for answers. I don't want to necessarily spend time on this show talking about how to do something. I want to help you understand why you should do it and what opportunities are there, and then you could figure out the how. You don't need to be able to put up a website in a week. Ultimately, there are tools that can possibly help you do things like that. I'll share some tools that allow me to quickly build websites. Like, for example, last night, literally from from domain to profit, I had that website. I was on it, changing some things. I accidentally deleted the entire website. From domain to profit, deleted the whole stinking thing last night, ready to go to bed. And I'm like, oh, crap. So what do? I open up my leadpages.com, which is where the website is, and I created a new one. Like I literally spent like 35 minutes creating the web page that you'll see if you go to From Domain to Profit. That page was made in about 30 minutes. Of course, I'm familiar with that program, but I had a problem. I solved it. So hopefully that rant helps you. Like, is it worth it to start a business? Do you have big enough dreams to make it worth figuring this stuff out? I hope so. I mean, imagine what your life's going to look like if you can, take that domain name that you have sitting there and turn it into something that can make $1,000, $2,000 a month. In the case of what we do it as passively as possible to where we don't have to be involved in the day to day. What would that do for your life if you just kind of, it creates freedom, it creates flexibility for you, and that's what I want to help you find. Ultimately, hopefully it's big enough and interesting enough for you to want to spend time doing. So, okay. I'm on fire with Drew Rants. I need like Drew Rant music. Every time I go on a Drew Rant, there needs to be music that plays specifically for the sake of Drew Rant. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Anytime I think of crap like that, it's going to make it. Okay, so here we go. Well, let's get on to the next domain name. You saw what was up next. It is itworker.com. itworker.com. I dig this one. I got a couple IT workers behind me. I always say that my backup plan, if I was to completely bomb in some kind of business, which Luckily, I know how to program. So, in fact, let me share this quote with you. Jim Rohn, a business mentor and coach, he once said that I think everyone should have a goal to be a millionaire. Everyone should have. You should have that goal. He says the reason is not so you have $1 million when you reach it. It's instead so you are the kind of person that can make $1 million when you reach it. Like as of that point, when you make that $1 million, you don't even need the money because suddenly you're the kind of person that can make $1 million. Anyhow, hope that makes sense because ultimately that's how I feel in all that I've done in business is the person I've become to accomplish the different goals I have made me a completely different person. And ultimately, I am an IT worker. I'm a bunch of different things because of it. And the money doesn't define me. Anyhow, okay. ITworker.com. GoDaddy Auctions was at $70 plus 3 days until this one ends. Again, let me just show you GoDaddyAuctions.com, auctions.godaddy.com. You'll have to sign up for an account and bid. You'll be bidding against all kinds of different people for domains like this. And okay, so GoDaddyAuctions.com. I am just trying to pull up. Okay. So any questions? So as far as it goes for eventpicks.com and some of our other domains, let me know. Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. What would you do? How would you develop the domain name? I am curious to read them. This is an experiment and learning experience for me as well. So please feel free to toss that out there. I know it's scary to share your big hidden secret ideas, but ultimately we're a bunch of entrepreneurs working together. So itworkers.com, starting the clock. And with this domain name, IT Worker, singular, important to note, singular meaning there's no S at the end. I was adding one. ITworker.com. IT workers are huge, giant industry. This is programmers. This is anybody that's dealing with databases, all kinds of big data tech type stuff, all kinds of different things. So anybody that's working in tech. ITworker.com, great authoritative domain name. Just imagine if you called up a programmer or something, you're like, hey, I just want to interview you for itworker.com. A programmer would think, we would think that matters because the domain name has that authority. Okay, so the audience is going to have something to do with the audience is going to have something to do with IT workers, whether IT workers are our customer or those who want to hire or find IT workers. I think that job sites. Peter Askew, he one of the guys on Twitter that me and him we do this, develop domain names. He loves job boards. So itworker.com, he may be in on that auction. And basically, people post jobs looking for an IT worker. Maybe it's on a contract basis, maybe full-time, part-time. They pay. So I say we turn this into a job board. The problem is they're looking for IT workers. They're scarce because we need more IT workers in the world. Solution is we create a job board where you can go to itworker.com to find an IT worker. So a search engine of jobs. And where are you going to go to find an IT worker? itworker.com. Gosh, I love domains. They're so much fun. Okay. Anyhow, it has the authority built right into that domain name, and which will get your foot in the door. So when you're looking for that awareness to reach that first customer, you can call up different IT companies, or maybe you just go browse the other IT jobs out there, call up their HR departments, whatever it is you need to do, and be like, hey, I'm with itworker.com. We're a jobs board that specifically looks to find IT workers for companies, and we can post your job on our board. It could also be a headhunting, recruiting type website, big commissions and things in that. Okay, stick with the main one though. Find your first customer by reaching out to people that are posting IT jobs. But then, of course, awareness also needs to happen. You need to bring those IT workers to you. I would say have IT workers post and share content on the site in some way to build and show them as experts. So Stack Overflow might be a good job, or might be a good idea of the kind of thing with how they have job listings there, because a bunch of IT workers are showing up there. Okay. Makes sense? So maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. I don't know, IT worker for you. If you're an IT worker, it's an exciting business possibly, maybe the kind of thing that you want to mess with. And if not, then so be it. That's perfectly fine as well. I love that domain name. I think it's a great one. In fact, we already own, I believe, webworkers.com or something like that, which is a fun domain name. So, okay. Anybody? IT workers? Okay. Well, I enjoy that domain name. Hopefully you did too. Let me know how you would use that domain name. So, okay, 1 second here. Okay, let me get this set up for our next domain name, which, as you can see down there on the up next section, is powergauge.com, which this one is another one that's going to challenge me, mostly because I don't do anything with products, and I'm guessing powergauge.com is going to be a product type site. So powergauge.com, I spell checked it last night because I'm a horrible speller, which is something you always need to check out, whether the domain name's spelled right, whether there's weird characters. There's really nobody even bidding on this thing. So here I am bringing this domain name to you. I'm excited by it. So powergauge.com could even be a great brandable domain name. That means could be your company's brand rather than something you're selling. I don't get into that kind of thing, into brandables, mostly because brandables, you can use almost any domain name. In that case, you're building, if a domain name is real estate, which it is, in that case, you're bringing your building and placing it on any domain name. It doesn't need to be, these premium domain names like this. But in this case, if you're going to sell a power gauge, if you're going to sell multimeters and all these different things, well, powergauge.com would be a great place to do it, and starting the clock. So powergauge.com, I think we are talking most likely, I think there's opportunities to talk to novice hobbyists for electricians. Like, for example, I own different bead boards and things. One of the things that I want to learn more about is circuitry. And let me go back and get my timer. I don't want extra time. Come on now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I would go after hobbyists. One of the reasons I look at audiences and markets where it's more of a hobby rather than a profession is there's a lot more discretionary income. So that means that people are spending that money out of fun rather than out of profession. You know, electricians and things, they're going to go to the super commercial category of some store that you and I have never been to. They don't, maybe they do, but they don't often go to Home Depot for their power gauges and the different things that they're going to use. They're going to go to a commercial contractor type store. You could, maybe if you run a chain of commercial electric type things, you can possibly put that up on powergauge.com. But I say go for the hobbyists. So hobbyists, you can charge for these bead boards and things. I want to say that I paid $119 for a bead board with one of those processors and some LED lights. It was like a kit. It's still sitting in my closet at my house. Really need to do that thing. Anyhow, but I mean, $120 for this thing, and I assure you, it would fit well on Power Gauge. So what would you do? You'd be looking for people that are selling products that deal with electricity in some way, everything from STEM type things for kids all the way up to sciences and education. So maybe they're kits that teach kid about electric. as well as adults teaching us about electric. And you place all these, you find those people, you reach out to them and you say, hey, I'm Drew, I'm with Power, well, insert your name. Crack myself up, I'm sorry. I'm Drew, I'm with PowerGauge.com. We saw your products, we'd love to do them. We see that you offer an affiliate program or a commission program. Would you possibly be interested in doing more of a monthly fee? That might be an option. Or you just sell it on a commission base. As I mentioned last week, I paid my way through college selling stuff on a commission affiliate marketing type platform, which in that case, if you're doing that, it's very much a matter of keeping the cost to acquire a customer below your profit. If you can do that, you can run a business and make money. I tend to steer away from those because there's a lot more risk. For example, if that website is down for a week or something crazy, heaven forbid, you're not going to get any sales, you're not going to get any money. Although I guess that's the case with many. A week's a long time. For a couple hours, I should say. Could really mess up your life if a website's down or you have IT problems if you need that sale to come in order to make that money. So hopefully I ran through things. I run through that pretty well. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Great opportunity for you if you're hobbyist in electricity, anything like that. PowerGauge.com. That's over on GoDaddy Auctions. Going for, as of last night when I put this in here, $12. It's going to go for more than that, of course. And that auction ends in 2 days. So, yeah. So I think that one's a fun one. Great domain name as well. So PowerGauge.com. So we're going to keep moving forward. I have a couple more domains that I may possibly be able to get through by the end of this show, by the end of the hour. So I try to bring as many different varying domain names, varying prices of domains to you, because ultimately, you know, when we buy towing.com, you know, that's a six-figure. You know, we paid, you know, well over $100,000, close to $200,000 for that. I did fly to California, put my house on the line. Anyhow, so we will bring those kinds of domain names to you when they're up for auction. But at the same time, I want to find the opportunities that hopefully don't cost and cause you to put your house on the line. But I'll bring them both to you. So as you've seen, there's quite a little bit of a range in domains. Some weeks there's going to be a lot of great domains. Other weeks there's going to be a bunch of stretch type domains. This week there's a lot of good domains, but they're kind of stretchy. They're not clear cut. And I will say this, short Drew rant, be patient, right? You just because I'm on here showing you some different opportunities doesn't mean you need to run out and grab whichever one it is. Find an opportunity that's right for you, that aligns with your goals in life, what you love doing, what you're interested in doing. If you do that, that passion, that interest will be what helps you problem solve your way to creating this business. So just kind of one of those things. Just be a little patient with it. So the domain name that we have coming up, next one I want to mention is flooringpros.com. Flooring Pros, one of the most lucrative sections of the home improvement stores is those carpet and flooring type things. And the nice thing is it's very independent contractor based. You still see a lot of independent carpet stores, at least around Cincinnati. We see them. There's enough profit in carpet and flooring that there's still independent carpeting stores. So let's start the clock. So this one, again, this one's going for 185 plus already. 3 days left. It will go up. Who knows where it's going to end up, whether it's going to be 4 figures, 5 figures, or maybe 3 figures still. But again, because flooring is such a high profit, high ticket item, these kinds of domain names provide more of an opportunity than some others. So, but Flooring Pros, I would 100% go directory on this. Mostly because how do you find a company to handle your flooring? Look on flooringpros.com. Sounds great, very authoritative. You'll be able to call these flooring stores that are out there or contractors. I don't know a ton about this, but basically I do know that like even Home Depot, they hire independent contractors that install flooring to come install their flooring. So you can hire those people. They can list themselves on a site like flooringpros.com, and then you can go buy your own stuff and then hire them to install it. So there's a lot of market out there. There's probably hundreds, thousands of people that install flooring. So it's a great opportunity for a directory. So there's a good market and audience out there, as well as those stores. You can find stores near you, things like that. I love directory businesses. They provide my livelihood, the freedom, flexibility I want in my life. So the problem is those companies, those customers, those flooring pros want more business. They want more direct business, especially because I'm sure when they are contractors for larger companies, they probably don't make as much as what they could if you hire them directly. So they want you to hire them directly. So how do they do that? How do they find those customers? Well, a site like flooringpros.com could help find those who need to install flooring with those who install flooring, a direct connection through flooringpros.com, which I think that pretty much sells or lists out the unique selling proposition, which is USP, a little bit of a business marketing lingo, but essentially we're communicating the solution we're providing, which is direct to those experts, those flooring pros who install hardwoods, carpet, and so on. Authority falls from the domain name. You would want your flooring professionals to provide their authority. So why do you consider yourself a flooring pro type of thing? Awareness is you need to find the flooring pros, those people who are probably going to pay to list on your directory. How do you find them? You're going to call the first ones, those early adopters. Then eventually you'll be able to do Facebook marketing, Google click ads to bring them into the site. And again, you'll just need that cost per customer to be less than their monthly or annual subscription. And then you also need to bring in those customers for those companies. I would recommend doing that through search engine optimization, which is ranking in Google, providing content, selling your website sold to Google in order to get some traffic for your customers, which makes it sound a little darker than what it is. But ultimately, Google does provide a lot of content, and websites like flooringpros.com or towing.com may not get the credit for what we do, but we sure as heck can help a lot of customers, a lot of companies actually show up and generate business. So, okay, so I'm going to pull up our next site for our next domain name, and I'm going to try to get through these last two. So we got 10 minutes. So hopefully I don't go off on any too crazy Drew rants, but we're going to go and we're going to get to our last two domain names. Any comments, questions, anything. So let me know as far as flooringpros.com, any flooring pros out there. If you're out there, Flooring Pro, that domain's out there for you. And I'm sure if you were going to buy it, you probably keep that secret, but how would you develop it? So if you're watching this in a replay as we go through these 3-minute business plans, how would you develop these domain names? Mention it in the comments. Let us know. And I'd love to read them, see what you have in mind. And the more you work on developing kind of those muscles of how you can develop a business on a domain name, the better out you're going to get at it. So, okay, next domain name is dentalbiz.com, dentalbiz.com. So this one, again, GoDaddy auctions. Not every auction is up on GoDaddy, but they do handle quite a few of the auctions in a lot of different places that you can register domain names, share their auctions there. So you'll see that a lot of them do end up at GoDaddy, but there are a bunch of other sites as well. But GoDaddy auctions was $25. We'll end up that or higher over on GoDaddy auctions. And this expires in 3 days. And dentalbiz.com, I'm including start a timer. So I'm including dentalbiz.com because just like I mentioned, flooringpros.com is in a high profit, high ticket item. Dental pros are also one of the higher per click cost on Google and on different search engines. So why does that matter? It matters because anytime you see like per click costs and things happening, that means there's some good marketing incentive. Dentists are looking for customers. And if you think about it, the way that when you go to the dentist, it's a lot of times your insurance isn't as good. The insurance isn't set up. A lot of people do per cash for dentists. Doctor, it's all insurance. But dentist is often either per cash, on a cash basis or just weeks insurance. So there's a lot of cash changing hand with dentists as opposed to insurance with doctors. So when you're looking to approach those professional fields like that, dentists are one of the best areas to find good per lead, to develop a per lead type website. So if I'm not mistaken, like 1-800-dentist.com, that telephone number is a per lead type system. So I believe, I could be mistaken, but I think you call that, and essentially dentists pay to get you as a lead through that phone number. They get exclusive areas or things like that. If that makes sense. Okay. So I would do dentalbiz.com. Dentists are going to be your customers. Because we've not talked about a per lead system, I say we go with, let's go with the per lead. So the way per lead would work is your website, the goal would be to get people to submit contact information, which you send over to a dentist, and then they pay you for that contact information. It's how many, many different websites work. They pay per lead, which you are the lead. If you come there looking for a dentist, you submit a form, and you're a lead. Sorry about it. It's how a lot of different websites work, to where when you submit those forms, you are considered a lead. Somebody's selling that content most likely to the people that actually provide that service. Dentalbiz.com. People see it in the pay-per-click results. I think it looks enough like a authoritative domain name that it can get some clicks, possibly lower your cost compared to other not so presentable domain names. So you'd probably want to know pretty good about pay-per-click, because your cost per click, all that's added up needs to be, each lead needs to be less than per lead. So if you're making $10 per lead, $20 per lead, all the costs per click to get to a lead need to be less than that amount, which makes sense. So you'd have to get the dentist to sign up to get those leads. So, okay. What do you think? I don't know. I'm not all that passionate about dental stuff. I don't do anything with it. Now, if I could get a great domain name in it, I'd so do it. Okay. Anybody in the dentist industry? Anybody going to, so maybe that's something you're interested in. Maybe you have a cousin who's a dentist, an uncle a dentist, whatever it is. Maybe you see that as the opportunity that you want to take advantage of. So if so, then go for it. Dentist.com, I'm sorry, dentalbiz.com. I don't know who owns dentist.com. I'll have to type that in sometime. Sure, we just send all kinds of traffic and business over to them. So we're down to our last domain name. So this is the last opportunity. We're going to do it real quick, and then we'll kind of say goodbye. So nothing up next, simpletickets.com. Not sure what that's all about, but so simpletickets.com, I just thought this was a fun domain. So not to mention, we all kind of hate on Ticketmaster, right? Like the fees that these ticket companies charge. It's like, I want this $80 ticket. Why the hell is it $130? Anyhow. So simpletickets.com, a simple ticket platform to help small events, small, medium-sized events, handle digital tickets. So our audience is, again, going to be events. So maybe you own eventpix.com, and this is just one additional source of service for that market. But those events, they need to handle tickets. So, I'm going to get into the IT. So there's going to be a lot of problems to solve to make something like this happen. Maybe you're set up for it already, but so let's say we create a system where there's a purchase made. They assign a ticket ID. That ticket ID is used to create a QR code or some kind of thing that's displayed on the phone. That event can come in, either scan that code, enter the barcode, find that ticket, mark it as them showing up at the event. So basically, Simple Tickets creates a app or a simple way to have tickets for your events. You charge, you can go the Ticketmaster StubHub way of charging per ticket. That's probably pretty lucrative. I would probably not go for the old 25% up fee or whatever the heck those places charge. Or you can just go for a monthly subscription, which I love my subscriptions. But basically, you're looking for events or those people, event planners possibly, who plan quite a few events, so that way they can be familiar with your program and use it. So really what you're looking for is that one first major customer, and then you build out this ticket platform for them, and then you do that with the idea that you'll be able to share it with other people. That first customer, of course, paying really, really low fees, where everybody else that comes in after them, after you've done your R&D for that first customer, then you get to sell and use this software for other people. I love that. It's an in. I call it an in, but it's that idea that you have a starting point. So this domain name going for $25, you get it for cheap. Then you basically just need to. You can learn on the job. You can go to some event place, ask them what problems they have. Hey, how do tickets work for you? What if we work with you to create a custom ticket platform? We'll do it for free, and then down the road we'll do this. We'll pay. Come up with a mutually beneficial arrangement. You learn and build the platform as you go, and then at the end of it, you have a customer, but then you also have a product that you can sell and promote and grow your business with. Hopefully that makes sense. I love that kind of model. It's going to require you probably to keep your day job or keep your other source of income while you build it. So that's a great way to bootstrap a business, is find that first customer, help them solve their problems with your solution. So here we are. We are at the end of the hour, week 2 of From Domain to Profit. I hope that you found it enjoyable. I hope that you found an opportunity that can truly just change your life. And, we'll be back next week with all new opportunities. So please comment, chat, let us know what you think. Let us know what kind of opportunities you look for. We'll keep an eye out for you. But until then, we will see you back here From Domain to Profit. Take care.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income. From domain to profit, we'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.